Hey, everybody. Let's go. Boom. There we go. Hold on one second, everybody. I got a video up that is still playing. There we go. Got to mute myself because it triples otherwise. So, hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm joined by Master Sergeant retired today. A lot of drone activity. It's been growing over the years. And, Master Sergeant retired's got some interesting insight that we'll talk about. We'll talk about some of the DIY factor of drones and how it's changing warfare, also changing law enforcement, even farming, right? Like it's across the board. So this threat's not just America based. I mean, we're gonna show some videos from Sudan, um, Israel using small drones as a as a value added to any fighting force, right? But then also the lethal force. And you know, we're not talking about just tiny little drones like this DJI Mavic Mini, right? But you can make these. You can put a bomb on it. You can drop it on somebody, and you can kill that person pretty effectively. Um, probably currently, I can't think of anything more terrifying, right? So during my time in warfare, we had big drones until maybe the very end, maybe 2012 is when we started seeing non-weaponized small drones being used not just by us but by maybe a little bit of the enemy in Afghanistan. Now it's something you can't escape. Period. There's nothing you can do to escape a drone. Right. Shotguns. What do you think about that? Top, like shotguns are now a valid weapon in the military again, right? Get a combat shotgun full of birdshot. I mean, pretty wild.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing when Amazon said they were going to start doing drone deliveries. I was thinking like redneck skeet shooting with prizes.
Right. Well, that's kind of how maybe that's how it kind of started. Like, hey, there's a YouTube channel called uh, Bum Drone or Drone Bum something. It's in California, and this guy like flies over these bums and they freak out and they throw rocks at him and stuff like that. You know, but then there's always the redneck who's like, well, I own the airspace above my house. And I don't know. I don't know the legal answer to that. Probably not, right? I mean, I would imagine that there's a certain space above your property where you can't fly these.
Anything, any according to the FAA, anything above a blade of grass is owned by the FAA.
Really? Wow. Okay.
You have no expectation of privacy from the air.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Uh, let's go in. I'll go in a little bit. Like so, before we were live, we were just chit chatting like about like kind of our fascination with drones and prop planes and things like that. But I've been into drones since DJI came out. Even before that, you used to be able to buy those $20 little remote control helicopters from the PX, and I used to love those. you know, they didn't work really well. Obviously, they were all line of sight IR. They would always crash. They would always break. You'd have it for a good week and then it'd be broken. But the new ones, like let me fold this one up real quick. So if you're not very experienced in these, like this drone folds up. Right now, the top's not on it. This one's broken. Unfortunately, I crashed it going at like 60 miles an hour. So, it was just a simple mistake, and you can make mistakes really simple with these. But if you see here, it's got a full motion cam. Oh shit! There we go. It's got a camera, so the camera moves It's got a gimbal. It stays in its spot. It's got a super clear 4K picture to it, but you can just fit this in your pocket, right? Like there's nothing to that. You fit the controller right in your pocket. let's say let's to weaponize it. Let's say in a perfect world, right? Let me see what I got here. Okay, here we go. This is a little kid's light. Now let's say that little cube, which is this is actually a light, right? That little cube C4, right? What I would do is I would take it and I would it's plastic explosives is moldable. So you can mold it in your hand. I would take a bunch of BBs and take a bunch of scrap metal and whatever. Then all you need after that is, let me see. Here we go. We'll just use this little cord, right? You have a little cord with a little detonator. Detonator goes inside, right? That's connected to, let's say, a small battery pack, right? Now you have an entire bomb that you can fly
Yep.
5 miles from your location. You're still safe, and until you're about 100 feet away from them, going at 60 miles an hour, they're not safe. But even if you don't hit the guy, like if you just hit around a group of people, so you know, fully screwed. Uh, One thing we're going to do is we're going to show some videos. So I want to really, really, really want to say directly, like some of these videos are going to be hard to watch. Okay, so if you're not well aware of what combat looks like, especially this type of combat, this might not be the video for you. I'm definitely going to be on YouTube, and I'm going to make this an adult only video. I just haven't figured out really how. I've done it before. I know it's fairly easy to do, but so we are going to show some shit. There is going to be some blood. There is going to be a measure of fear in some of these. So just so everybody's aware, if you're not into that or you can't handle it, don't watch the video for sure. Master Sergeant, why don't you go and talk a little bit about some of your drone or a drone in flight and just aerial asset experience?
Yeah. So I've been radio controlled kind of geek for years. I flew model airplanes and RC helicopters all since the late 80s on, actually. And drones were like the next progression as they came up. And I started in with the drones back when you had to build them. Um, you'd buy controller boards, you'd solder all the parts on them, buy motors, and they were mainly quadcopters or they had some octagon type things that had like 6 motors on them. And that was mainly for, payload capacity, depending on what kind of cameras you were sticking on it. And then DJI really stepped up, and they had an all-in-one package you could buy that had a GPS and the controller and all that. And then you'd put it on a frame. And then with the police department, I started a drone program back in 2018. And that kind of snowballed once we got our program off the ground into a regional program. And I ran that for the last 6 years. I just stepped down the end of last year. I was just burned out. But we had 42 pilots and 18 departments all involved with this regional team. And we'd go out and do search and rescue, accident reconstruction. Um, yeah, just a lot of stuff that we'd go out and do with it. We'd go out for the fire department, so we could tell them where they had hot spots, especially with like large brush fires. And a lot of the fire departments got on the bandwagon with that as well and started picking up drones. But we still haven't made any case law yet as far as evidentiary type things in regards to um, collecting evidence on surveillance, things like that. And there hasn't been any real case law on it yet. So, we've been, and we're very mindful of people's privacy rights, but according to the FAA, anything above a blade of grass, you have no privacy. But I look at it this way: if it's open to view in somebody's backyard, could you like somebody was stealing catalytic converters and they had a big pile of them out behind their house, and you were able to get video of that from a drone and introduce that as evidence, that we're going to have to wait and see how the case law comes out on it. But if you've got a big pile of catalytic converters in your backyard, throw a tarp over it, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Isn't it wild? Like, no, crime's stupid nowadays, right? Have you seen
Oh,
the
it is.
catalytic? Speed of that, have you seen the guy stealing the dude's catalytic converter? So the guy comes out of his house and he's just like, "Fuck it, I'll just get in his car and steal it too." So the car owner steals the catalytic converter thief's car, and then he's sitting there like, what the hell do I do now? Maybe we'll show that the end is funny, but so I'm going to share a screen. Let's see, share screen. Let's do. Okay, we're going to start with the most recent incident. Let me see if I can see this. Okay, good. Okay, so the Department of Defense identified the 3 soldiers that were killed in Jordan. It's a small base. They're Army reservists from an engineer company out of Georgia. But we have Specialist Brianna Alexandria, or Moffat, sorry, Sergeant William Rivers, and Specialist Kennedy Sanders. So my understanding of the actual incident is that a drone that was provided allegedly by Iran, which kind of seems logical, right? Was flown onto the base and it actually impacted their living quarters. So that's where those 3. So in addition to the 3 soldiers that were killed, 25 were wounded, or 34 other service members were wounded in the attack. Yeah. So we're not talking that drone that was used in that attack is not one of these, right? That is it's the size of a Cessna, right? A single engine Cessna. Right? They're not small, and they're kind of like the Katyusha rockets that were used in Iraq. They pack them full of extra explosive and things like that. So they're already a one-way. So one-way drone, meaning that drone that's sent from whatever rebel group or insurgency or terrorist organization, right? It's not meant to come back. It's a suicide drone. So one-way armed munition. And they were, I don't know the range. I'm guessing the range is in the 20 to 30, 40 kilometers. That base is pretty close to the border anyway. So they could have launched it from a mobile capacity. But we actually have the video, which I'll show now, of the attack launch. So let me remove that. Oops. Present. And a lot of these videos are from Funker 530. If you're not familiar with Funker 530, it is the basically YouTube for combat. Right. So let me find this specific video. Or where'd it go? Let's see.
Yeah, they featured a video from my last deployment. It was our second platoon coming out of Tikrit, and the entire road just kind of mushroomed up. I know everybody's seen it. I mean, it was huge. The whole pavement in front of the Humvee ballooned up about 20 feet in the air and then came back down. And they featured that video.
I see it on my thing. I can't see it on here. Give me 1 second. I'm working this out.
Technology's teching.
Right.
Well, that's all right. I'm sitting here reinstalling Windows on my game computer because I screwed it up.
Well, that's insane.
Yeah, I screw it up about once a month.
Right.
I just give up and reinstall it. But I started overclocking stuff, and then all of a sudden it just went to shit on me.
Okay. Iraqi PMU launches drone. Okay. All right. Where is it on here? Window. Why do I not see that? Here we go. Got it. Okay. Let me put. Okay, we're good. We're good.
The hell are those?
Those are the drones.
They rocket launched the drones?
Yep.
So those are fixed wing drones.
Yep. Okay. So very short clip, but That's what the launch actually looked like. So it's not just one drone; it's multiple drones. We were talking earlier. So most bases have uh, counter air battery. It's called CRAM. It's counter rocket, uh, rocket something, and mortar system, which we'll show a video of that in a little bit. And here's another. Let me show another attack on drone strikes U.S. base in Iraq. This is on Christmas Day. So this is during daytime. Drone strikes U.S. base. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry if it's crazy loud. You know, let's go. Yep, big boom. A lot of these videos are really short, but hey, that's a pretty damn big boom. Okay, like that's not something you want to explode if they're guided, right? So I don't want to give up too much, right? But our bases have bunkers, right? So if you're getting attacked by artillery or rockets or mortars, and you're outside, you have a place to go where you're shielded from the shrapnel, right? You're not shielded from the overpressure. And probably my biggest concern is that you get 30, 40 troops into one of these bunkers and they take even a smaller drone and they fly it into the bunker, right? Then it's not even really a matter of concussion. You don't even need shrapnel. You just need the blast. And so that's pretty crazy shit. Let me see what we got here.
Well, that's kind of like the German potato mashers. Everybody thinks they were fragmentation, and they weren't.
It's all concussion.
Yep.
Which is what I don't know what I think the concussion alone kills more people than the shrapnel. I might be wrong. I haven't been at war in a while, you know. Okay, so obviously these drones have been pretty heavily used in Russia and Ukraine. So I found a video that we'll show next, which is probably one of the most terrifying fucking videos I've ever seen in my life. All right. So, even though, hey, listen, I'm down with dead Russians. That's cool with me, right? I'm not I'm not sad, but I mean I feel some level of anxiety for what these troops went through that we're about to show, right? So but here, let me preface this. Imagine this. You're on a very large radio tower and you can't get down. And then there's an armed drone that's chasing you around the tower platform, right? I don't know, 300 feet above the air. So we go back just a little bit. So this one's it's titled "Russians Trapped on Antenna Hit by Bomb Drone," right? It's so loud.
Three, two, one.
Let me pause that.
Yeah, I'd say game over.
Yeah, game over. But that's probably one of my. I mean, let me scroll back like just a little bit to. I mean, it's totally insane, right? I mean, right there. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, and they're using just little drones with like hand grenades on them.
mm-hmm. Yep. I imagine that one's because you can see those wires on it, right? Let me go back a little bit more. Here we go. Okay. Those wires, I'm not exactly sure what they are, but I imagine that's a detonator of some sort. I imagine it's touch based. I don't know. What do you think?
Could be.
I mean, it could be remote, but then, I mean, that's their.
I would think they may on something like that. Maybe some type of a pressure plate, or I don't know.
Right. But it's the only
Or
reason I
just
think
command detonate it from the controller.
it could
Fly
be.
it in there, push a button, boom, all done.
I mean, it's that's certainly under the drone, so it's not. I mean, I guess it could be prop protection, but then why would you even need to add that if it's a suicide drone, right? But I mean, I'm telling you, that's I can't think of many things that are scarier than that, right? And, you know, obviously that guy was killed in action, like 100%.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Here's a crazy one out of Russia. So this is the only there are a few ways to protect yourselves, not many, right? Well, here's one of them. This is a short video too. It's let's see, anti-drone net snares. Okay, and let me turn the volume down just a little bit. If it's loud on your guys' end, I'm sorry. It's bunker's hard.
Дрон пролетал.
So let me pause that real quick. Okay, that's about the size of a mortar round, right? I imagine it could be a mortar round or it could be plastic explosive, right? But the Russian drone net caught this one, you know. And that little red wire right there, that's det cord. So yeah. So here's the crazy thing though, that's still live, right? That unless like when it crashed into the net, like its receiver got knocked off or broken or something like that. But yeah, nets. It's wild to think that nets are going to be an important counter UAS system in the future, but drones can't get through nets yet. I'm guessing somebody's trying to figure out how that'll work. And let's see. Okay, so maybe the top is the battery pack on this one. That would typically be the battery pack, but I mean it's wrapped up pretty tight. It's hard to tell. That's the det cord though. So the det cord's actually going into here, I think, to the maybe the bottom's the explosive, but that guy's got his head like right by a pound or two of plastic explosives. Not very smart, but
Не знаю.
well, no, I guess that red wire is the battery pack. So the battery's on bottom, the bomb's on top. I was wrong. That white cord right there. Let's see if it comes around again. Yep. That is det cord. So somewhere in there, probably wrapped up in plastic to keep it waterproof, is the detonator. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, that's scary as shit.
So there was this is quite a few years ago. Some ding ding down in Connecticut mounted a Glock on a drone and took a video of it firing. And I think the $20,000 fine that came along with that was kind of rough for him to pay.
He really got fined. That guy did.
Oh yeah, he did.
Really, I didn't know that. That's like an iconic drone video, right?
Yeah, the
'Cause he just
FAA
was not
the
happy.
FAA flipped out over that one.
Let's see here. Okay, the Sudan one, we'll save that for a little bit. We'll save the Belushi one. Okay. Here's some Russia stuff though. This is kind of awesome, right? So I'm going to pull up the video real quick and then I'm going to look it up. What the TOSA one is. Let me see. TOSA one. Okay, it's a MLRS, multiple launch rocket system. So this is that little in the center of the screen there, that little kind of blip that's kind of blurry. We can't expect 4K out of these. These are just drones that are going to die, right? But the TOSA one or Spec The Blazing Sun is a Russian multiple launch rocket system. It's a heavy flamethrower system that can be used to provide fire support to tanks and infantry. So let's see the cost. Hold on. Cost. Okay, $6.5 million unarmed. So let's let this play. And boom. We'll watch that one more time. Wow. Yeah.
Did they should have some on there where the Ukrainians were dropping hand grenades from small drones on guys in the trenches.
Yep,
Those are
I'll
pretty
pull that
crazy.
up. I think I have one up, but I at least have the ISR capacity. But let me see. Close quarters trench recorded. Okay. Yeah, hold on one second. Let me pull that up.
And then I think there was another one where they drop one down into the hatch of a tank.
Yep. Yeah.
It's scary actually, because you can go right down to Best Buy and buy a drone capable of doing that and delivering a payload like that.
Mm-hmm. I'll get through some of these real quick, and then I'll pull up the new ones. I didn't want to cloud my screen up too much, so I couldn't read the things. So Burns, you brought this up, right? And it's not just the lethal capacity that's impressive, right? It's also the ISR, so intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance aspect. So I got another video in here I'll show after this. The Israelis, how they're using it, right? They got these really tiny drones, and instead of they're breaching the building, they're making entry, right? And then they're using these drones to see where the terrorists are, right? And so, hey, that thing gets shot out of the air. Cool. Well, there's a guy in that room. So instead of like trying to clear it in the standard way, throw in some grenades or flashbangs, right?
Yeah, we're actually using doing those. DJI makes one specifically for that.
Nice.
Я знаю, тут кожен шматочок землі.
Let me turn this down.
На смак і на дотик. Тому що
Oh, they are dropping. Okay, yeah, so this one's good.
кроком піхоти.
Boom.
Тривалий час не вдома, потрохи усвідомив. В руках моїх і зброя, і майбутнє. Но травої і бруді, бо треба скрізь і всюди. Просохнемо і знову сухопутні. Але я не заздрю.
So what's happening here, and this is brilliant on the Ukrainians, right? They're using multiple drone that are dropping munitions, in this case, hand grenades. They all look like kind of standard fragmentation grenades. I don't think there's anything different. The pin's already pulled. So they have it on the drone. They have this little mechanism that's holding the flip pin, right? The flip pin's the piece that comes off, and then your grenade is cooking, right? You only have a certain amount of time. So they've gotten so good at this. They know their elevation, right? So let's say the fuse on a grenade's 5 seconds. So they know that at this elevation, once they click go, by the time that drone hits the ground, it's only going to have a second or no time at all. Airburst in these instances are pretty good too, because then it covers like basically let's say, I don't know, at minimum a 15-yard circle with shrapnel. It just rains down from the top. Also, when you're in a small space like a like trench warfare, the concussion of the blast also kills. So when you're in that small area, the gas has no place to go except for its point of least resistance, which is left and right and out. So, but it can't just go in the open. Where in the open, if you have a grenade, somebody throws a grenade, let's say you see it on the ground, you kick it, right? If you lay down, the chances of you surviving are pretty good, right? Unless it's a foot from your head, obviously, right? But if you kick that grenade and it goes any decent distance, because then the blast goes up and out. Up and out is less deadly than up and down. Let me press play some more. This is crazy shit though. Oh, and also in addition, so these are Ukrainian troops, right? They're using these drones as basically their air support. So they're like we would at Omaha Beach, where the Navy bombarded the cliff face and the Nazi positions, right, in France. You know, kind of the same thing, really. I mean, except for it's a smaller device and they're just dropping grenades. Once that munition goes off, now they're going in to clear those trenches.
Тому що периметри цих територій вимірюють кроком піхоти. Але я не заздрю героям, братам, арті морякам і пілотам. Тому що периметри цих територій вимірюють кроком піхоти.
Oh, that's cool. So in this video, here's what's kind of happening too. This is also really, really smart. It's basically hunter-killer teams. The drone that's taking the video is the Overwatch, right? So that Overwatch drone is at a higher elevation. Then you have the attack drones that are lower. And you can see one of those attack drones. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but right here, there's one of those drones. And that's just a quad. That's just a quadcopter. If you look at it flying around.
Yeah, it looks like a Maverick.
It looks like a Mavic. This is the Mini. That's probably the full-size Mavic that they just put one of those servos under. Oh man, here we go. Oh man, fuck. That's scary as shit.
Тут начебто все просто. Для творчості є простір. АК, БК, гранати і лопата. Стратегія і тактика.
Poor guy just sitting there having a smoke. And...
Yeah, they're probably giving him commands. But there's been atrocities on both sides, obviously. Or we call them low act. Yeah, they're talking
back and forth.
And I just noticed this kind of interesting top right on the video. You can see that is the unit's little insignia. So they're making actual units for this. Yeah, they're just chit-chatting right now. I wouldn't be surprised if that guy dies, though. I don't know. I haven't watched this through.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're both going to have a bad day.
I think they probably had a pretty bad year.
Yeah.
So let me go back on this one just a little bit. There we go. Yep. Go back a little bit. Yeah, that's really interesting right there. And in real life, grenades
and went right down in the hole.
Right. It went right. Insane. Yeah, in real life, grenades do bounce, right? So, like,
oh, they do.
Well, that's the thing. I imagine, like, some of the new solutions are going to be sticky, where they put some type of like the arrow packs or gel packs on the back of C4 for breaching. I imagine you could wrap that around something and then it'll stick to wherever it's intended to land, which is insane. Let me see which one this. Okay. All right. Here. This one's cool. So this is in Gaza. This one's new. This is the IDF, and I think it says the unit, but this is the, oops, shit, wrong button. This is the IDF using it after breaching a location and using that drone in real time to identify threats. And this is also, I was never a door kicker the way Josh and, Stone Vet would have been a door kicker, right? I can't imagine being in a fucking room and hearing, and I'd be like, oh shit, I mean, just the pucker factor here alone is just insane. So, oh, yep. See, there you go. Okay. And this one's way shorter than I thought it was, but. And he looked like he went over here. Let's play that again. Went in, there he is. And now he's going to get up. They're going to come back, and I think he ran in there. I thought I saw. So, yep, there's something going on right there.
Yeah, he's dead.
No, he got up because
you could see his hand. Watch the second one. All right, there he is.
Okay. All right.
Now watch when they come back in. See his hand and his arm right there to the almost in the center of the circle?
Oh, I see. Oh, he is there. He's just covered in dust now.
Yeah, he's just
Okay.
covered in blowed up shit.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But from a tactical perspective, God, knowing where your enemy is, yeah, you know. Okay. This one's from the Wall Street Journal. So let's see what type of tank this is. Share screen. And I think this one's from the Wall Street Journal. Yeah. Let me do this so it looks a little better.
Russian tanks that cost over $1 million are being taken out by cheap consumer-style drones.
Yep.
Like this one that cost a few $100s. Since the Ukrainian counteroffensive began, military analysts say there's been a dramatic increase in Ukraine's use of FPV, or first-person view drones, with most Ukrainian battalions using these drones to execute kamikaze-style attacks on Russian tanks, troop positions.
That looks like a
and
mortar
other
round, doesn't it?
large-scale weapons.
It does.
The aim is twofold: to make the military less dependent on weapons from.
So something to consider when you're watching this. So we had the same thing happen to us as coalition forces in Iraq and Afghanistan, where we were trying to defeat the IEDs. JIDO was formed, Joint IED Defeat Organization. So the terrorists, like in, let's say, Al Qaeda or Haqqani or Muqtada al-Sadr in Sadr City, Baghdad, right? We would have $30 million vehicles with V-hulls that are ambush proof, mine proof, bulletproof, everything proof, right? And so they're like, okay, well, we don't have to kill everybody inside, but we can blow a wheel off, you know? So where they used to use, let's say, 100 pounds of explosive, they're just like, hey, let's triple it. So instead of 100-pound explosives, let's use 300. And then shortly after that, the EFP hit the battlefield, right? What that does is it's not just terrifying. An EFP, if you're not explosively foreign penetrator, it's a convex copper plate, right? And then the explosives are it, so it turns into a liquid hot cone, and that can go through like 26 inches of tank armor steel, right? It's just like butter, right? A lot of times it cools down because it gets such a long stream that there will be a slug plugged into the tank at the end. It's real wild to see. But Ukraine using an inexpensive solution to take out millions of dollars worth of tank, it financially degrades Russia very, very, very bad, right? I mean, it's a huge.
It not just so much that, but the morale of the troops too.
Oh yeah, because
it just.
What do? They don't. They run. It's like a run, but they can't hide. They know that, but they still. I mean, I don't blame them for trying either. I mean, yeah, there you go. You could fly a drone. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Oops, sorry, Burns. Yeah, they're still marked with artillery. Let me press play.
Western countries, and to operate cheaply.
That's a mortar round.
The Wall Street Journal collected dozens of attack videos from Ukrainian drone teams and spoke to analysts from Jane's Intelligence to break down how these attacks were executed. Kamikaze drones must get very close to a target and remain undetectable.
There we go. Boom.
To execute an attack like this, FPV drone pilots work in teams to identify targets and get into position to strike. The team usually includes a driver to get to the attack location and 2 drone pilots, one for the attack or kamikaze drone.
Oh, let's pause it.
For a
Oops, let's go back just a tad. That's interesting. So this is a normal setup, right?
Yep.
This is
they're using the powered amplified antennas and receivers and all that stuff. I used to have a setup like that actually. I had one of the drones I built back in the day, probably would have been 2009 maybe. I was using stuff that you can't get anymore. I was using UHF frequencies for the control system, and I flew it 7 miles out and almost made it all the way back.
You think is that a Yagi? You think that's a Yagi antenna?
Maybe.
Because I mean, I'm thinking, they're probably using a lot of what they already have.
Oh yeah.
Yagi would be common in that area. It's just a thought. It could be a whip antenna off a Humvee type thing.
Yeah, I think they're using more directional though.
Yeah,
That big
that would
plate
make
on the top of that controller. That's
yeah.
They usually have those. I forget what the hell they call them, antennas.
Omnidirectional.
Yes, and they don't have any FCC regulations in regards to how much power they could put out and that kind of stuff. So I'm sure the transmitters they're using on the drones and on the actual transmitter units are much higher power than what we're allowed here in the States.
Absolutely. You would have, I mean, probably, I wonder if they tie them to the radios and then they have like secure comms, just one way comms, but I mean, you can still block comms and then you line of sight. But
one for the attack or kamikaze drone and one for a reconnaissance drone.
Yep.
The optimal flight distance for missions is roughly 1 to 2 miles to the target.
So they're not that far.
But they can launch from as far as 7 miles.
Far enough.
One way they evade detection is by using low-quality cameras on FPVs. The signals these cameras transmit are less likely to be scrambled by Russian electronic warfare systems.
That's also true.
Before launching, the operators attach explosives to the kamikaze drone with tape and hardware. The attack drone operator wears a virtual reality-style headset to control the drone.
That's a mortar round.
After launching, a reconnaissance drone looks for the target. In this footage from the Zaporizhzhia region, near the city of Orikhiv, it's a Russian truck. Ukrainians targeted it because it was carrying ammunition to Russian troops.
Yep, that's smart.
The attack drone follows the truck as it turns and crashes into it, detonating its payload.
Boom.
When striking a supply truck like this, a drone pilot will aim for the cabin to take out the driver.
Yep.
The strategy is similar when targeting tanks. The most vulnerable spot on a tank is its engine compartment, located here on the rear side. Drone pilots often aim for them, as in this attack from behind.
So what happens is, let's say that munition doesn't get through the armor, it just kills the engine. That's pretty good. Now, they have battery backups, so they can still move the turret. They can still do some things from the tank, but it's probably on fire, so they limit it on time. Once that fire reaches the bay, then you have to get out because your munitions are going to explode, right? But so let's say they use the small $300 drone to, and I don't know what a mortar round costs. Let's see, what is the actual cost of the mortar round? Russian mortar round cost per munition. $100 to $120 per mortar round, right?
The drones strike the weakest points on tanks and heavy machinery like these infantry fighting vehicles.
So as you see right here too, here's a Russian tactical mistake that they seem to haven't learned their lesson from. The Russians bunch up, right? We've seen that all throughout the war. They don't, like, we're bunched up when we're on base and we park our vehicles, right? But when we're convoying from point A to point B, like, we are 300 to 500 yards apart from each other in these big, long convoys, right? Like, the Russians will just park and they all get up close to each other. Like, you crank off a couple artillery rounds in the middle of that, it's a big, big, big problem.
Vehicles. Here, the open hatch is a vulnerability the pilot likely noticed. The pilot appears to hit the turret, where some of the vehicle's crew sit, and ammunition is stowed. Here, a kamikaze drone strikes a Russian truck that lays landmines. On these trucks, pilots target the mine modules. Deterring these trucks is key, as minefields have been a major obstacle in Ukraine's fight to regain territory.
So all those got blown up. You can see it visually.
The failure rate of missions can be high, according to Ukrainian units we spoke to. Russian firepower can knock these drones out of the sky if discovered.
This is a great video.
As shown by this near miss.
Whoa.
About 100 Ukrainian companies.
Oh, shit, look at that. So just like us in World War II, it's like companies that used to make tin cans are now making, armor plating, right? Same with Ukrainian industry. If it wasn't like super essential, right? Like, hey, let's use your tooling capacity to build these things, right? And they're cranking them out like a lot.
40 of which receive government contracts. Most of the parts these companies use come from China and are becoming difficult to source. Ukraine's use of these DIY-style weapons is rapidly evolving. And now
I'd say so.
Russia is catching up.
All right, so this video is over, but let's see what we got here. Ukraine's cheap drones take out $1 million worth of tank, but how? I think this one's different than the first one we watched with the guy in the tower, but it's scary as fuck, right? Yeah, that's a. What is
In the
this?
heart
Okay,
of
here we go.
So they're using a home built. It looks like.
Yeah, so they're not just they're sourcing like like the you can do these with like an Arduino board, or you can do these with simple
That's
simple
they're buying the controller boards and building the frames and putting big motors on them and going after them.
I couldn't find it earlier, but there was a video where they had like basically a warehouse full of 3D printers, and they're just cranking these out,
Of new tools of war.
Oh yeah, there we go.
By volunteers.
Go back just a tad. Pay attention. I'll try to pause it.
About 90% of that stuff you could buy on hobbyking.com.
Tools of war.
That TX16S transmitter.
So this is just a simple XYZ axis 3D printer, right? And that little tube right there. So they have a coil that looks like. Here we go. Like let me see. Let's go back. So this is 3D printing wire, right? This is a small little tester one, right? But they come in big spools. So they'll have a giant spool of that, and it's fed by this little wheel device. I forgot what they're actually called, but then it goes through, and then at the end of that, there's a little tip, and that tip heats it up, and then it lays it down and it cools, and it does that in patterns. So wicked smart for all you Bostoners. So
built by volunteers and
that's more of a
technicians, tinkerers who are repurposing their skills.
That's a big one.
Invasion. We partnered with the Kyiv Independent to get a deeper understanding of what this actually looks like. This is their story, and the story of how set they are on keeping their country. Not by having bigger weapons, but by having smarter ones.
I'm going to put this in a little bit fast forward. How do I do that?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing? This is Francis Farrell, a reporter from Ukraine's largest English language news outlet, the Kyiv Independent. They've been covering this war in depth, and they worked with us to tell this story.
How is Kiev feeling these days? Is this kind of tense waiting period because everyone's ready for another kind of wave of...
Oh, this video is pretty long. I'm just going to fast forward. Let's see if we can see anything cool. But yeah, 3D printing. So from, DIY to the battlefield. Pretty awesome.
Hardware from getting into the country. These drones are also vulnerable to Russian jamming. Basically, it's not thrilled about their drones being used in war, especially by the Ukrainians. So they make big efforts to block software and hardware from getting into the country. These drones are also vulnerable.
Let's go back. Let's read that. That's important. China's DJI halts Russia-Ukraine sales to prevent use of its drones in combat. Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but I mean, probably the perception is with China, it's like, is China really an ally of Russia? Yes, to an extent, right? But that's because it's in their best interests, right? Then the second that it's not in their best interest, it's not. That train has left the station, right? Chinese geopolitics are vastly different than ours, and so it's kind of, I'm trusting people who are immigrants when they talk to me about this, and American citizens and cleared, and people I trust on this type of stuff. But that's I didn't realize that happened. God, that's almost 2 years ago now. But so But what's going to happen is, you can buy these boards in bulk, and I assume that's what they're doing. And then they probably have some type of centralized pickup point. But let's move on. I think we've already seen this one, but let's see.
Began using a lot of these things.
Boom.
By one estimate,
Yeah.
they're using 10,000 of these drones per month.
And if a unit
I wouldn't be
doesn't get
surprised.
them replaced very, very quickly, they can be in big trouble on their little part of the front line.
And yet, the flow of drones kept coming, thanks in part to a widespread effort of drones and all of this customization. You're starting to see
Tactics explained.
You shoot the gun, you hope it hits the target, and then if it doesn't, you adjust it and try again. When you have a drone in the air to observe where that shot actually hits, you can more precisely calibrate your gun so that you're
Okay, yeah, let's go back up a little bit.
Their targets before they try to hit them.
So what they're talking about here is call for fires, right? So the old way, let's say master sergeants in my era, right? You have a forward observer, right? Originally, they just had radios and maps, right? So they'd say, hey, they'd say 300 yards north, and they'd give you a new grid, right? So you hit low and to the right. Now you have to adjust fires this way. It's called a 9-line. It's a very specific way of describing where that round impacted, so you can get it on target, right? Now you can literally take that forward observer and that forward observer went from having a laser. First they were maps and radios. Then they had laser for laser guided bombs. And now you just put on the headset and you fly the drone in the air. It's these small drones at 300 yards in the air. You can't hear them. You can't see them barely, right? But they can observe the battlefield and they can observe the impacts.
We had a system that we used. It was like a pair of binoculars, but it plugged into your plugger, which is your military GPS, and it had a laser in it. I'd fire the laser; it would give me the actual grid point of the target, and then you'd call that up. Never got to use it. Never really had a need for calling in any artillery fire. Of course, I was in an urban environment the whole time. I mean, you're not going to use artillery in the middle of a city.
Well, depends on which city and what year. Right?
Well, I mean, toward 06, 07 during the push.
Yeah. I mean, at least in Ramadi and Fallujah, it's like at the same time, you couldn't use grenades in Baghdad, but you got guys with Mark 19s firing the whole belt into a building, Like,
we used to use AT-4s to clear a building.
Yeah. Like the Bradleys were really good at that with their
until they found out we were using AT-4s to clear the buildings, then they took them all away from us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hell, in World War II, that's how you cleared a room, right? You threw a grenade in first and then went and checked.
When you're shooting these big artillery guns, it's kind of a game of guess and check. You shoot the gun, you hope it hits the target, and then if it doesn't, you adjust it and try again. When you have a drone in the air to observe where that shot actually hits, you can more precisely calibrate your gun so that you're hitting your target more accurately. But with the rise of FPV drones and all of this customization, you're starting to see drones become carriers of explosives, bigger and bigger explosives, just like what Francis saw, a customized explosive that is.
That looked like a 40 millimeter.
It did. It really did.
That looked even bigger.
Explosive on the desired target.
So that one's. Oh, let me go back. That's
release the explosive.
Boom.
Yeah.
So that's a bigger drone too. What do you think that is? Probably a meter by meter square if you squared it up.
Oh yeah, and it's dropping. What's it got? Like 6 barrels there. It's dropping 6. Looks like 640s. There might even be 60.
40 or 60. I think that might be 60 millimeter mortars. It could be 40, but I think it's too big for 40. Because, well, how many 40s have a tail fin? Not that many, right?
Well, we are talking about Russian stuff, so.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I saw some pretty weird shit while I was over there.
It's weird to compare it to the U.S. for sure, but yeah, that's fucking wild. I don't think I've seen that before, but that's brilliant. So that's super cool.
On the desired target. And then, of course, there's the kamikaze tactic, which is just to strap an explosive to a drone
Strap an explosive.
and run it right into a target like a tank.
Yep.
This effectively turns your cheap drone into a precision-guided missile, something that would cost orders of magnitude more. But as these techniques become more and more sophisticated, so do the counterattacks. Russia counters all of this, not only with drones of their own.
Look at the freaking drones. That's insanity.
What do you think? I bet there's 4,000 in there. You know,
that's
wild.
Just crazy.
I assume that this is still a Ukrainian video or the Ukraine side, although they're talking about Russia. But I mean, that's a lot of production. But they were saying 10,000 strikes a month on average. That's a lot, you know.
That they are using to attack Ukrainian cities, but also with electronic warfare, which basically means jamming signals. This whole tactic relies on radio signals that allow a pilot to see where they're flying and to control the drone remotely. Russia is getting better and better at putting out signal jammers to stop pilots from seeing and controlling their drone. You can see some of this interference happening in some of these drone feeds, and when your drone looks like that and you can't control it, it basically renders it useless. So to counter this, Ukrainian soldiers now put up drones that are specifically meant to boost their signal. To create kind of a
I forgot about
bridge of
that.
a radio.
So that's the other things. In addition to the ISR aspect or command and control, right? Now you have signal boosting drones to extend range, and you know, Russian EW isn't great, really. So I mean,
signal that will counteract this electronic warfare and secure a more solid signal between the pilot and the drone.
Well, that's when you change over your frequencies and you start using the frequencies they're using.
Right. And in a typical war, if it's like, because right now it's kind of like insurgency versus insurgency instead of protracted, but you know, you would use airframes to take out the EW assets and the missile battery systems, you know.
Is kind of the Wild West for warfare. It is pushing.
It is the Wild West for warfare. That's true.
Uncharted territory. And finally, these drones on the front lines are being used to capture video, which is then edited together and usually set to like some hardcore rock music and published to the internet to boost morale.
Okay. It certainly does. Yeah. Boom.
Morale is a key ingredient.
All right. I'm going to get off this one. There's more to show. So this is probably going to be the first in a series of like talking about some warfare stuff. So, you know, we can go into some of these videos like in depth later. Like I said, you know, this is going to be the first, but let me see. This one's kind of hard to watch. So if you can't handle it, probably it's a good time to go to the bathroom or go for a walk or something. So, the Sudan ones are pretty wild. All right. But I want you to imagine here in this one, when I press play, declared. So there is essentially zero electronic warfare capacity in most of Africa, right? You could say South Africa has it. Certainly there's some where we have US bases and coalition bases. Like the French would have that capacity in Djibouti and Mali, right? But this is Sudan. So not a lot of EW. So they're using the drones that drop munitions, right? And this is a clearer picture. This might be a big drone. I don't know if it says. This could be one of those drones that's about the size of a Cessna, right? Or bigger, with a FLIR, forward-looking infrared and camera. And it sees that's these guys right here are the target. That's 1-2 mortar rounds right there. So it's a big system because it has multiple munition capability. And then boom. Direct hit. So those guys are gone, obviously, right? That guy's gone. It zooms in a minute. Pretty sure they fire more, but if that was their target, they got it, you know. Obviously, that's a mess, you know. That guy's still alive, but did they just drop another one? I can't tell. We'll find out in a second. So, You know, the mortar rounds, if you're too close, I mean, they're very, 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 very lethal, right? Yep, that's wild. It's hard to look at. Let's keep going. Yeah. So that's in Sudan, right? Let's go to Kashmir. So this is the Indian military utilizing drones. Is this Kashmir insurgents eliminated by Indian drone? Let me turn the volume down just a little bit. That's a Kashmir fighter. Yep. Direct hit. So obviously that's incredibly violent, you know.
Neutralize. Neutralize.
I can't read that language at all, so I don't know what that says.
Allahu Akbar.
Well, not in India. No, India wouldn't say that, right? I don't know what the Indian
Depends on if they're
equivalent.
Muslim or not.
Well, very small percentage of the population in India is Muslim, though, right? I think. Here is another one out of Sudan, which just like the previous ones, hey, this is super violent. So, oops. Damn you, auxiliary.
Right on the hood.
Wow. And so here's a thought. I don't know this for sure, but well, you can see the big hole it made in the hood. So that engine's toast, right? Maybe that auxiliary light that's coming out is how they're actually powering the like basically the claw that releases the munition.
It could be.
That's why we see that. This is obviously a smaller drone, not a bigger drone. If you're not aware, Sudan's got some civil war issues and a bunch of issues right now. So yes, Burns, that's Sudan. Let's look at Iranian. This is an Iranian military drone. This is against Baluchi targets in Pakistan.
طبق اطلاعات مقر اکثر این تروریست ها در پاکستان است و ادامه حملات تروریستی این گروه در ایران نشان میداد.
Okay, so let's go back just a little bit. You see these markings right here? This is a military drone. So this, this is not, I'm not saying this is equivalent to a Reaper or a Pred drone, but think of it as like a full-size working military drone. Right? That's what the Iranians are
ایران
using.
نشان میداد اقدامات پاکستان در مبارزه با آنها کافی نبوده. ایران در این شرایط و با ادامه حملات تروریستی برای جلوگیری از حملات بعدی این گروه مبارزه با آنها را آغاز کرد. این تصاویر پهپاد شناسایی نیروی زمینی سپاه است. از مهمترین مقر جیش العطر در منطقه کوه سبز در نزدیکی‌های مرز پاکستان، مکانی که در محاصره کوه است و دسترسی زمینی به آن دشوار است.
Yeah, they're pretty high up, right? So they're probably, I'd imagine they're 8 to 12,000 feet.
جایی که طراحی عملیات‌های خارجی، سازماندهی تروریست‌ها و تجهیز آنها به انواعی از بمب‌ها و اسلحه‌ها در این مقر انجام می‌شود. چشم‌اندازهای دیده‌بانی به همراه افراد مسلح در تصاویر دیده می‌شوند. اینجا هم میدان تیر است، محلی برای آموزش و افزایش دقت تیراندازی برای عملیات‌های تروریستی در ایران. مقری که عمری 20 ساله دارد و قبل از جیش العطر محلی بوده برای آموزش و اختفای تروریست‌های دیگر گروه‌ها.
What they're showing here is some clips of the terrorist groups make these super cheesy, sometimes propaganda videos. This is one of their like motorbike assassination, videos they make. these are pretty common.
آنها 2 دهه در این مقر فعالیت می‌کردند و پاکستان هیچگاه برای پاکسازی این مقر اقدامی نکرده. اما در روزی که نزدیک به 60 تروریست جدید برای سازماندهی با هدف انجام یک عملیات تروریستی بزرگ در ایران وارد این مقر شدند، عملیات اصلی ایران آغاز شد. این تصویری از محل جلسات این گروه است که در مرحله اول هدف قرار گرفته. پس از آن و با غروب آفتاب نقاط بعدی این مقر و دیگر اهداف منهدم شد و پس از آن بود که گروهک موسوم به جیش العدل حمله به مقر خود را تایید کرد.
Well, it didn't show as much as I thought it would. Let's see. This is the U.S. and UK drones striking Yemeni targets. So let's pull this up so you can see it from what the Houthi are seeing, basically. And these are, our drones are big, and they're very, very lethal. So, boom, boom. Yep. It's just a short video, but
well, it's like the Predator. The Predator can carry
a lot,
rockets or pretty much anything.
250, 500s. I think they can carry more than that too.
Hellfires.
Yep. Rocket pods. Yeah. Let's see. Russian assault rejected by Omega drones. How long is this one? This one's super short. Okay. All right. Okay.
I don't know where they do the training, Bernsey. I don't know. I know that there's an Air Force outpost at the old Fort Devens, and they test drones there. They've got trailers and antennas, and they're at the old Moore Airfield.
Also, Whiteman. I think Whiteman's a big place. I know there's some stuff around here, in my area, in Virginia, DC, Maryland.
Well, we've got the research lab right here in Natick. So
yeah. Well, then also DARPA down here.
Yeah. So that's that. They probably work. With the guys that are out at the old Moore Airfield.
Richard, that's a good point, right? We're talking like drones. We're not talking like one. And the Iranians, they have a lot. I don't know if you guys remember. You probably remember, Master Sergeant. One of our drones went down in Iran, mechanical failure. And then they were, showboating it on the TV, and then they said they recreated it, right? Those are pretty fun videos to watch from Iran, but
no, reverse engineering is a thing. How do we lock up here? Did I just take over Wally's live stream? Wally is frozen in time. Wow. So, hey, does anybody want to see the fake Kaiser documents I have? I've kind of been accused of that. Well, this is different. So I guess I'm in charge. Let me see if I've got control over everything here. No, I can't do anything with that. Yeah, I pretty much have no control over anything, but I'm here by myself. Now, I don't know if Wally will rejoin or not. See if I can share a screen. Maybe. I don't think it will. Yeah, it won't let me put anything up. Well, this is kind of unanticipated. So I hope everybody's having a great, what is it, Tuesday. Hey, make sure you stay tuned for Throat Punch Thursday. I've got a new intro that was made for me, and I'll discuss that. And we're going to have Navy Texas vet on Thursday. He's retired Navy, so we're going to talk a little bit about his. And then next week, I have got a gentleman. He is a prior Marine, and he runs a nonprofit, and they do scuba diving for injured veterans. So stay tuned for that one. That'll be a good one. That will be a good one. He actually reached out to me. He's a big time gamer too, and that's how I met him, through playing Hell Let Loose. And he runs a server. And yeah, if he has any questions about anybody that applies for his nonprofit and his programs, I told him I'd be more than happy to help him out, just to validate any craziness that may go on. So yeah, it'll be kind of cool. So for the next couple of weeks, we got some interesting folks that'll be on there for Throat Punch Thursday.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we were just having a nice chat without you.
I bet you were. I'm kind of an idiot.
Oh yeah, I was plugging my Throat Punch Thursday and telling them about my future guests. I've got a guest coming on, not this week, but next week. Prior Marine guy.
Nice.
I met him through the gaming. He runs a nonprofit, and they do scuba diving instruction and trips for injured veterans. And he reached out to me about validating some of the people that may apply to get that free training and that those trips. So, because I guess he says he gets quite a few that are full of shit, which, well, stolen valor.
Oops. Here's the link. Here is the link. Thanks, bud. I don't know where you're sending it, but I'll find it here in a minute. Okay. So sorry about that, guys. That was really odd. I'm not on wireless. There was something happened, and I got the little red light on my box. It doesn't happen very much. So, okay. Well, shit. Where were we? Russian assault rejected by Omega drones. Okay.
Yep, that's where we were.
Ouch.
Oh, that was a good one.
That would look like white phosphorus, didn't it?
It did. Nothing like a little Willie Pete to spice up the day.
Yeah, right. This next one's the HMS Diamond. That's a British ship, intercepts Houthi drone in the Red Sea. I haven't watched this one, so I don't know what's on here, but it's not a very long video. But the let's see. Oh, okay. I see what's going on here. All right. So one of their I'm assuming the Diamond, some type of destroyer, but it just shot an anti-air missile at a drone, a Houthi drone. But when they say Houthi drone, it's an Iranian drone. The Houthis are kind of like they're hunter-gatherers with guns, right? They're not super advanced without help. So,
do you think they adorn their drones like the jingle trucks in Afghanistan?
I wondered that. I wonder if they do. Let's see. This one's this one's like 8 minutes, but I'll fast forward through the weird parts, and then we'll look up the direct hits. I'll look up the direct hits real quick. Oh shit! Sorry, keep going to the wrong one.
Was that a beer can bomb?
On Russia
Beer
and
can
Ukraine
bomb.
have highlighted the evolving nature of warfare in the modern era. Ukraine,
Ouch.
facing the constant threat of Russian aggression, has found an ingenious.
Yeah, it's a little 40 mil there.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
what
a little
that
40.
is.
Formidable armored might
That looks
of
like an
its neighbor,
RPG round.
cheap
That does
DIY
look like an
drones.
RPG.
You know,
These
that's the type of
seemingly
RPG
flying
that
devices
stops
are
a
proving to be
Humvee
some
at 70 miles an
cost-effective
hour.
solution.
Right. Yeah.
Ukraine,
Let me
facing
pause
the
it on that.
constant
It's
threat of
coming.
Russian aggression, has found an ingenious and cost.
Yep.
Yeah. 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 I'd say so.
RPG with fins.
Yeah. All like, 8 pounds of it stopping a, 8,000 pound Humvee going at 70. It's not possible. But... So whatever.
Effective solution to counter the formidable armored might of its neighbor.
Those are pretty big battery packs. If you know anything about drones, those aren't like standard.
These small, seemingly
Yeah, those are 6S
inconspicuous flying
packs.
devices are proving to be a David against the Goliath of advanced Russian tanks worth millions.
That's interesting. I don't know.
Footage showed how T-90M tanks were targeted and taken out using low-cost DIY drones.
Oh, that one
As we
did some
witness
damage.
million-dollar tanks surrender to relatively affordable DIY drones, one can't help but questions. Are these million-dollar tanks truly?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Right in
There
the,
we go.
right in the hatch.
Or could it be their power is
Bye-bye.
Boom. Ouch. Yep. That sucked. That
Join us as
sucked.
we delve into the dramatic battle between million-dollar tanks and cheap DIY drones, while also uncovering the secret behind its development. Cheap hobby drones rigged with explosives are posing a significant threat to expensive
I'm looking up
tanks and
drone
heavy
direct
armor on the
hits.
battlefields in Ukraine. Reportedly, Ukraine has been modifying inexpensive drones to carry makeshift warheads and target expensive Russian military equipment. Recent video depicts Ukrainian attack drones, which typically costs around $400 to $500, taking down a Russian T-90 tank worth as much as $4.5 million. The tank fell off a small cliff and became immobilized, making it an easy target for Ukrainian attack drones.
Fell off a small cliff.
The T-90, introduced by the Russian army in 1992 following the USSR's collapse, became a symbol of formidable modern tank technology. In the early 21st century,
found a few of them.
It secured its status as the world's best-selling tank, underscoring its superior firepower, advanced armor, and combat capabilities. The fact that it was defeated by cheap drones was indeed ironic.
Yeah. Wow.
Although the specifics of its takedown remain mysterious, this story will forever be remembered as another instance of the underdog challenging the
Yep,
giant.
that's the that might be fuel, but
This stark contrast between the value of the target and the cost of the weapon delivering the blow speaks volumes about the changing face of conflict. On top of that, these drones aren't solely focused on targeting
40s.
tanks.
Yep.
They extend their reach to encompass troop transport vehicles,
RPGs.
infantry fighting vehicles, as well as supply and ammunition trucks. As the cost effectiveness and versatility of these DIY drones become increasingly evident.
So yeah, you could
pose
put a
significant threat to
armor-piercing
Russia's
RPG
high-value
on
military
there
assets.
and drop
yeah.
it, or crash into it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I wonder. I haven't seen it, but like the Spig 9 rounds for recoilless rifle, they got like it's like a crystal pack on the. I don't know how to describe it really, but it's some type of crystal and it has to be going a certain speed. And I wonder if just the munition itself on the drone, or if it's dropped, if that could set it off. I don't know. But
What's terminal speed? 120 miles an hour, I think.
If that or
I think that's terminal velocity under its own weight.
yeah, that sounds right.
In response to the Russian invasion, a group of volunteers, including
Oh, that's a big guy right there.
and non-experts
Yep.
called
Look at that guy.
Aerologika,
So I think you would probably consider something like that more of like, it's probably still under the light lift category, but these little drones with these little tiny engines can pick up 100 pounds, right? And actually, this is let me get my phone. Let me do this real quick with Google Translate. Let's see what that says. I'm not watching the chats, but if somebody speaks Russian, that would be cool too. Okay, okay. Oops. Let me retake this picture because that was bad. we go. Okay. Flight characteristics, cruising speed, whatever 12 MC is. Flight time, 45 minutes. Recommended radius, 8 kilometers. Wide window start temperature. By the that one 8 kilograms. So that one can carry 8 kilos, which is 16 pounds. So that's interesting. That's a few munitions for sure.
Rather than constructing drones from scratch, they opted to modify readily available commercial drones found in Ukrainian markets, initially designed for recreational use and aerial videography. These modified drones were then militarized to carry up to 11-pound bombs.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. So 11 pounds, that makes sense.
That's a pretty big platform.
It is. It really is. Oh, here we go.
Relying heavily on crowdfunding to sustain their activities, they initially used off-the-shelf drones like Chinese DJI and Autel models, French Parrot drones, and others, converting them into militarized versions.
Yep.
However, their capabilities have evolved, leading them to design their drones, such as the R-18 Octocopter. With a range of 2.5 miles, a flight duration of 40 minutes, and the ability to transport 11-pound bombs, these DIY drones are a cost-effective alternative to conventional anti-tank missiles.
Oh, that's interesting. Here, let's pause that. It's not releasing it per se. It's sliding it off.
Missiles, which often come at significantly higher
Then it's got the fins that come out to stabilize, of course.
Aerorozvidka operates
and IR. That's great. That's a great drone right there.
Division, drones, deltas, and a cybersecurity team.
We use the DJI M30T
for drone construction and maintenance.
That's the latest and greatest we use for public safety.
Tracking targets. By leveraging data from various sources, including ground agents
those
and
are
drone
cool as shit.
reconnaissance, the Delta team creates maps of Russian targets.
The camera on it's amazing.
Is it? Yeah, it looks it.
Ensuring consistent connectivity, particularly in an area plagued by internet and electricity shortages, is the responsibility of the cybersecurity team.
All right, what I'll do is somewhere in the comments later, I'll post the links to these videos in like a chart or something, or I'll put it in sorry, playing a video, it got loud. All right. So we'll watch, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to watch 5 more, and then we'll just chit chat for a little bit. And this will be part 1 of whatever. So, but these are direct hits. So, and these are awesome. Wow. Obviously, if there's somebody in there that is not survivable.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one right in the hatch. Oh, wait, shit. Let me rewind it. There it is. That hits the outside, so that's active armor. That's also basically an armor that explodes upon impact. There's people in there.
Yeah, they're moving. They're like, uh-oh, this isn't good.
Nope. Oh, shit.
Time to unass the AO.
Oh, this one looks good. Oh, okay. Here we go. All right, here we go.
Right in.
Oh, my God.
Right in the driver hatch.
It blew those hatches off, too.
Yeah, there won't be anybody crawling out of that one.
Nope. Nope. That is impressively lethal. Okay, here we go. Another one. Same thing. This one doesn't have any crazy Ukrainian techno, so that's good. It looks like it's slow-mo, but there we go. Right in. Oh my God. Is that the munition falling? I guess it is.
It looks like a small drone. He's going to fly it right in.
Oh, it bounced. It's in. That might be a guy. Oh shit! Wow, fuck. Oh, it set off the munitions. Wow.
Yeah, that looked like a small drone, and he just flew it right in the hatch.
Yep. Sometimes when these go off, you'll see a bunch of flames coming out of the tube, like a jet engine. That's munitions going off also. Wow, that's brutal.
Yeah, depending on the size of the gun, whether they use powder bags or not, like a howitzer. Mm-hmm. If they get any exposed powder bags, it's not good.
Not good. Not good.
Okay. Ooh, it was really starting to cook.
Oh, I wish I would have kept it on. Fuck, I'm dumb.
That's all right. It was only two settings: well done or extra well done.
Right. E-72 Bravo. Boom.
Those things are ship boxes.
Yep. Iron coffins.
Yeah, the first Gulf, when the Bradleys figured out that their depleted uranium rounds would whistle right through them.
That was odd. That's a miss. Yeah, that one wasn't as good as I thought. Oak and rubble, you know.
Somebody said they sent you a clip of the HIMARS shooting.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, let me go off. Where did they send it? Let me see. Give me 1 second. Is it an email? Yeah. HIMARS shooting. Here we go. Hold on. Oh yeah, I love this clip. All right. Boom. Boom. Okay. I love the HIMARS, man. Death from above. And that's cool as shit. Yeah. Okay. So just something that was okay. Got it, Free Fire. Thanks, man. So appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, I used to love watching those. The staff NCOIC with 1st Battalion, 3rd Group, and the.
Oh, you know what's funny now that I think about it. Let me bring it up.
You got one too?
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let me get this up and I'll share it. Take me a couple seconds to find it.
Live fire in Kuwait. It looks like Kuwait, don't it? Oh, man. I can go through the comments real quick and see what I can see. You know what? I'm not good at this whole podcast thing, so I didn't even do like a shout out or what do they call it? Roll call. But Burns, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Biff, obviously, good to see you. You got Marlon. Don't know you really well, I don't think, but thanks for coming, man. Richard, obviously, we've showed some of your comments. Gay 25-year-old Wrangler's son, Ted Wrangler. What's up, dude? Hey, man. Thanks for coming. Love the name. Nomad. What's up? What's up? What's up? Yuri, what's up, dude? Generally specific. Hey, what's up, dude?
Yeah, I sent you a link in
okay, in the chat or private chat
on your phone.
Oh shit! Okay, all right. Let me move that over to. Gotcha. Okay.
That was before drones.
Hi guys, Mystery retired here.
Nice.
That's what I did for a hobby. I ordered all that shit online, had it shipped over to Iraq.
No shit. Okay.
Put it all together and flew it around out in the parking lot.
Hold on one second.
So anyway, the video he's going to show you while I was in Iraq, downtime, you get bored. I ordered a bunch of RC stuff online from Rick's Heli down in Texas, and he sent me a complete T-Rex 600 RC helicopter setup, radio, everything. Shipped it over to me. I put it all together and flew it around out in our parking lot for a while, and then I had two majors from the landowner that saw me doing it, and I kind of got in the shit with it. So I ended up having to pack it up and ship it home. They said it was too dangerous. I said, shit, you should go outside the wire if you want to see danger. Right. And they didn't like that comment. So.
And I'm going to press play. I'm
Yeah,
going to go off camera. Do you want to take control? Is that?
You could just let it play out. I'll narrate over it or whatever. It's like 10 minutes. It's kind of long.
Retired here, as promised.
Well, I won't be 10 minutes. I'll be just a few minutes. So.
A little bit of
be right back.
Helicopter flying from Mosul, Iraq, 2007. While I was overseas, you have some downtime. We were lucky. We were on a main.
So I don't have that helicopter anymore, but I still have the canopy that's on the front of it because it's kind of all done up in a like a fighter kind of thing with fake bullet holes painted on it and stuff. It's pretty cool. I still got it.
Interconnect them between the rooms and play games, books, magazines. Go to the PX. Go to the recreation center. Play pool. I chose RC helicopters. That was a hobby I had before, and it's a hobby I still have today. And this was my way of decompressing. I got some photographs. So this is a Trek 600 electric helicopter. I had it shipped over there. It took about 2 weeks to get it, and I bought the whole thing: radio, helicopter, toolkit. Some of the things I didn't think about was a soldering iron to put connectors on batteries. Luckily, my commo guys had a soldering iron I could use, and I was able to get everything going and operational. This is out in our parking lot where all of our vehicles were parked. This was a kind of like a helmet cam. This is before GoPros or any of that stuff now. So I kind of pieced together a little helmet cam that I used on some of our missions with a Sony mini DV recorder. But I also had a little tiny MP4 recorder that somebody sent me, and I managed to get it hooked up on the helicopter, and I managed to actually get some aerial photography with it, some video. And of course, downtime.
There you go.
sitting
I was ahead
around
of the
now.
Ukrainians.
Said, geez, I wonder if I could get a hand grenade on here somehow and maybe fly over something and drop it. That never came. I never did that. This was just kind of a joke picture. And of course, you can't have one without the other. Nothing like putting an M9, Beretta 9mm. We'll strap that on there and see if we can figure out how we can make that shoot. That never did. I never did that either. Like I said, these are just joke pictures. So that was pretty much it for the slideshow. But I do have some of the, I've got some ground video and some aerial video. So I'm going to go ahead and play that, and I'll narrate it a little bit as we go along. Okay, so I had a little bit of problems with the video playing, but now it's all set. Here we go. So this is the first test flight. You can see the tails wagging a little bit. I had to make some gyro adjustments. I'll tell you, setting up an RC helicopter, there's a lot of stuff you got to do. You know, pitch angles on the blades and all of that stuff. And you can see that tail's wagging pretty good. But that was the first time it came off the ground. And pretty proud of myself being able to build it over there with minimal equipment and tools. One of the first flights. And some of my guys were out there watching and videotaping while I flew it around. And I'm not a great RC helicopter pilot. I mean, I can fly it around. I could do a few little tricks, and that's about it. But like I said, this was a decompression method I had over there. And if I went out and did a couple of flights in the afternoon or in the early morning or in the early evening, depending on what our mission schedule was like, it definitely helped me a lot. And it helped with my sanity, I guess. Some of my guys would probably disagree with that, but hey, that's all right. So while I had this, and I didn't have it very long, I got it, I think, in March. I did my first couple of flights. It took me about a month and a half to build it just because I didn't have a lot of time to dedicate to it. You know, every evening I might do 30 minutes, build something, put something together, make adjustments, get the radio all set up. But I had two majors. They saw me flying it out in the parking lot. This was like midday. Probably shouldn't have been flying at midday. But I had an extra hour. I said, hey, I'm going to go out and throw a flight up. Flew it around, and a couple of majors pulled up in their hoopty car. They were what they call landowners. They were the major proponent that was in charge.
Yeah, 2.7 Cav. They were dickheads.
And they were like, excuse me there, Sergeant. That's a little bit dangerous, isn't it? And of course, with my smart ass attitude, my comeback, well, sir, if you want to see dangerous, you ought to go outside the wire. It's really dangerous out there. Well, that started a shit show. And of course,
Bet it did.
Who's your commander?
Oh, yeah.
I said, stand by, sir. I will escort you over there. I brought it down, landed it. We walked over to my commander's hooch, banged on the door. Comes to the door. What the frick do you? And then he sees the two majors. And I said, don't worry about it, sir. I'm going to box it up and ship it back home. So I only got a couple of months of flying over there, and I got a lot of flights. I didn't get a lot of aerial video.
That's the ASV we had
with the makeshift camera on it.
That's one of our. It's one of our hoopty.
It was actually pretty cool.
1114s.
And you can see our vehicles out there in the parking lot. You can see the dust. Lots of dust. It's almost like silt on the ground. And in the rainy season,
the moon dust.
It's pretty miserable.
Oh, yeah.
You get an inch taller every step you take.
What part of Iraq is this? Oh, never mind. Mosul. Sorry.
Mosul.
Right.
Parking area. And I'll narrate what some of the areas you're going to see.
Funny thing is that wall that was off to the left, that's the edge of the fob.
Right there at the bottom of the screen.
I mean, we were really close to no man's land.
Was right underneath that tree. So easy walk out. You can see we had the 12-foot T-walls, concrete T-walls around everything. When we first got there, those weren't there. And they put those up just to kind of protect us a little bit from water attacks. And some of those little connexes there are the bathrooms, and then you've got some more housing areas for the different units. And the heli's going to pan off to the right a little bit.
Yeah, the fuel depot was right on the edge of the fob. That's the fuel depot right there.
Was the refuel point, which was very close to the outer fence or the outer wall. And that wall right there was the wall to the actual fob itself. Fob Merez was a good-sized fob in Mosul. And that's pretty much where everybody was based out of. We did have some cops out in the city, some combat outposts. And of course, we used to go out to Badouche prison and work with the Iraqi police out there, as well as all the different Iraqi police stations, the emergency response battalion, so on and so forth. That was.
Hey, would this be considered receipts?
The building
Yeah,
off to the right.
that's receipts.
That was our.
Let me know if you want me to pause anything, all right?
Nah, you can just let it go. I just flew it around just for shits and grins. Did a couple of flips and a couple of loops and didn't crash it. That was a good thing.
Had a little bit of everything there. So,
because if you crash, then you got to figure out what you got to order, and then
maybe 2 months worth.
2 to 3 weeks later, you get the parts, and
so, the stress relief,
hope you got everything you need.
Definitely there, and it gave me something to do and look forward to, other than going out on missions. It got pretty monotonous after a while. It's amazing what you can get used to.
Yeah, that wall right there with the trees, that was the edge of the fob.
Just going to speed this up a little bit.
High speed, low drag.
And do a few flips and a few rolls, and I only crashed.
So what are you using for cameras?
It was just a little Sony cigarette cam connected to a little small MP4 recorder.
Gotcha.
That was before GoPro or any of those things even were out.
Forum sites that I was on for RC helicopters, V-Blades sent me a set of blades for it.
Man, I wish I had a GoPro when I was over there. I'd have more footage and you'd know what to do with.
Just
I just had a Nikon Coolpix.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I had one of those too.
I needed, as a matter of fact, when I started ordering, I ordered.
My dad got it for me. He's like, this might be, you might get some use out of this.
Soldering over there, getting decent solder and having a good soldering gun. So anyway, as I promised, I told you I'd bring you this. And what better day than the day before Veterans Day? So with that, I'd like to thank all the veterans out there for their service. And just wanted to give you a little bit of video here that I took while I was overseas. RC helicopters before drones. DJI Phantom didn't come out until 2013. So I was kind of ahead of the game doing the RC helicopters and putting cameras on them. Anyway, guys, hey, if you like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up on the video.
There we go.
Also, if you're out there riding on.
Yep.
Riding your wild ass sports bikes.
Yeah, I'm a little off the hook 90% of the time. So,
I mean, why not, right?
Everybody is really. Let me see.
Why live in fear of anything, really? There's reason to be cautious, right? There's nothing to fear, though.
All right. If you want to play it.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while since I played it.
Squad is ready?
Yep.
Good. Taker ready? Video's ready?
Yep.
Stand by.
Yep.
And okay. Yep. Taser, taser, taser. Okay.
He said it's so Massachusetts. Taser.
You can see the two probes, one in my ass cheek and one in my back.
Lower back, yeah.
So it's split the hemispheres, and it locked me up tighter than Dick's hat band.
Yeah, not fun. Not fun at all. God. That's
pretty,
wild.
Pretty friggin' miserable, actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, same with like pepper spray, right?
I would rather be tased than pepper sprayed.
I don't know. I guess they both suck equally to me. But it's also been a while, you know. I'm not don't put myself in positions to get tased anymore. So wild. So, um, I think what I'll do is on my community page, I'm going to put out a poll. I know there's not a lot of viewers on here, but maybe you're haven't seen stuff like that before and you actually like it. So, we'll do I'll do a poll, see what you guys want to see. I still got a couple more videos coming out this week. Next week, I'm in LA for a TV show. So that's going to be cool. I'm going to try to do a live at least one evening out there. I don't know. It's my first time doing anything like this. So, see how that goes. I'm not much of an actor, but don't really have to act. I'm just a little new guy who's helping with the hunt on a TV show. So that'll be cool. How long have we been on here? Let's see.
About an hour and 45.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna punch out and grab me some lunch.
Okay. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
I'll probably spend another few minutes on here. Then I'm going to get off and put groceries away, and I'm doing some cleaning and other random shit around the house today. So just waiting to start work or get a start day.
Bernsey, you can catch it in the replay. How's that?
Yeah.
All right.
A good one. All right, man. Thanks for coming on, dude. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, everybody in the chat. Great chat. We'll catch you later.
All right. So that was cool. So I don't really have anything additional for today. This is kind of just on the whim. Like it was just kind of on my mind. I watch these videos just on my phone, on a pretty regular basis. So kind of wanted to share, it is warfare is going to be really, really, really weird in the next 10 to 20 years, right? It's going to be something that none of us want. That's for sure. Right now, you missed it, but just go back a little bit. It's like, I don't know, maybe less than 5 minutes. It's there. Just go back in the video. And it's so fucking painful, don't it? Yeah. I couldn't imagine taking it in the ass and the lower back. It looked like it got him like right kidney height too. So, I mean, but he's tough as shit. So if it hurts him, but, yeah, I'm going to be putting out some more videos this week. I don't know exact dates and times. They're going to be, a few of them are going to be in the evening. I may go live this evening just for shits and gigs, just to bullshit. And I got some new Intel stuff I'm working on. I might kind of show some of that. I might do my insider threat tonight or tomorrow. Not really sure. If it'd probably be tomorrow late evening because I got kids tomorrow and I got some shit to do. So, yeah, I appreciate everybody coming on. There's a lot going on in the world. It's unfortunate, but after 20 years of war, I kind of thought we'd have a lull in U.S. presence, but it's looking like that's, especially after the incidents this week, it's looking like that's not going to be a real thing. That's going to really happen. I got my stepson's in the military. He wouldn't be in an active combative position, but as you can kind of see, it doesn't matter if you're an engineer, it doesn't matter if you're a sniper. These drones can hit you in your tent, right? I mean, so with the advent of this type of drone and these type of tactics, I don't care if you're admin, intel, I don't care if you're the mailman or a firefighter, right? You're not going to be super safe out there until we have viable solutions, which, as Americans, let's say if I'm back home in Southern Illinois and there's an issue with a tractor, like me, and I can call 3 dudes and we can work on a weekend and we can figure it out, right? Whereas the U.S. government works a lot slower than the insurgents and the terrorists. because they can adapt immediately without bureaucracy. So, perhaps that's a really big issue with how we're doing things is their inability to adapt out off the ground level. So yeah, a platoon of Marines can adapt immediately to what's going on around them. Whereas as a government, as a whole, as a military, as a Department of Defense, those changes take years sometimes, right? And then obviously, if the solution's like $10 million, it's $100 million problem. So, that's always an issue. And then we got obviously Congress and the Senate and everybody else. And yeah, you're right, Burns. Hey, war is profit, right? We've been warned about the industrial defense industrial complex, which I've worked for 20 years, right? And I wouldn't say everybody in it's bad. I mean, sure, like all these anti-war people, sure. All these anti-war people, they're like, America's so bad, we're fighting these wars. It's like, yeah, okay. Until you work for these companies and you have a large stock investment, and you're going to retire as a multi-millionaire based on how good they do, and then war becomes really enticing and really awesome. It's like you hate war publicly, but really war keeps you in business, and it will always keep you in business. But I'm also super glad about that because we're in the most powerful country in the world, right? Or at least I am, and most of you guys on here. I had a conversation with one of my Marine buddies. We went shooting and camping. This is before Christmas, so I think early November, I think it was. But he was a tanker in the Marine Corps. He's a tank commander. He's about to retire as either gunny or master sergeant now, but he's out at Quantico. So I was asking him, like, hey, was getting rid of tanks, is that a good thing? He goes, yeah, tanks. He's like, tanks are completely worthless now. It's like, and watching some of these videos, let's say $300 is about the average for a small DIY drone that has a lethal capacity to it. Yeah, so $20 million tank versus $300 DIY explosive solution, and you lost your tank. Now, if we're in a big war against a country like China and they have a bunch of armor capacity, yeah, it'd be smart to have those assets on the ground to take out other armor assets, like in close proximity compared to from the air to the ground. But that's just me ranting, well, yeah, no shit. Everybody needs to be more involved in the democratic process. You know what? The first thing that Americans can do is go fucking vote, right? Don't just vote in the presidential election, vote in your local elections. Right? Yeah. So Burns, if you're up in this area when you get back from Europe, right? I got a 1,000-yard range. It's near Winchester, Virginia. Cool shit. It's called the Cove. You can look it up. We'll take you out and get some trigger time in. The other range is like 300 yards, but they do unload show clear times. You can go redo targets out in this big field. There's boulders. It's on the side of a mountain, so it's really cool. Let's see. Trying to listen to No, I didn't talk about that one. I'll make a note of that. I'll talk about that on the next one. I could probably do a whole episode on drones. Like Ukraine doesn't have a navy, but they've been able to take out quite a few ships, partially with drones, armored drone munitions. Got it. Russian used tanks as an invasion element. Yeah. Well, when they invaded, they forgot fuel and they forgot food. So, that wasn't smart. I've talked about that before. Are you? Probably, maybe. Yeah. You're welcome anytime, dude. Play some music and drink some beer in the garage too. Haha. Lupe approves. Good. If I get approval from Lupe, that's all I need to be successful in life. And so, what else do I need? Right? Show's over. Like I won. Good. um. So yeah. I'm going to get off here for now. I appreciate everybody coming on. If you're not subscribed, haven't liked the video, please do. But obviously, that's up to you. That's not up to me. Um, really gone. I mean, for me, really gone up in subscribers. I'm at 328 now, so that's like super cool. But my shorts have gotten. I got 10,000 views, over 10,000 views on 2 videos. So that's kind of unexpected. But hey, I just started this channel, so having like hundreds of thousands of views is really really cool for me. So I really appreciate you guys um, tuning in and checking out the videos, and not trying to go viral, but any little thing helps. And I'm trying to. I don't want all my videos to be shitting on, uh, you know, the Kaiser people and auditors and frauditors and all that bullshit, basically, right? Um, yeah, I saw that. Um, I will. Let me make a note of that. Yeah, I saw the guy shooting from the wheelchair. I thought that was pretty interesting in one of the clips. That's also on Funker 530. Let me. I'm going to put a link, or I'm going to try to put a link down in the comment section so you guys can check out Funker for yourself. So, like I said before, hey, if you don't have the stomach for it, Funker is not a good place for you. Okay. Oh, here we go. Actually, hey, it just pulled up, so I'm going to share just for you, Lupe. Just hold on one second. That's what a coincidence. Okay, so hold on. Sorry. Let me move that over here. It is a fucking incredible video. Okay. I'm sharing now. Share screen. We'll go into this. All right. Let me make the video a little bit bigger. Hold on. Pause. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. What? Max.
راحت العلامات حالها مش العلم حالها. قلت انت اللي كنت بحمايتهم عشان الاثنين.
Okay, there you go. That's just one of them. There's more coming out, right? But Funker 530, there's the link. But yeah, so there's, unless the video came from a news source, it's not censored, right? So if you can't handle it, read the goddamn thumbnail, right? Because when it says like sniper hit to the head with a large caliber rifle, it's going to show that, right? It's going to show Afghan soldier stepping on IED. Like, it's going to actually show it, and it's not redacted, right? So if you don't have the stomach for that, don't go watch it, okay? Because it's brutal. And no problem, Lupe. But listen, guys, at that, I'm going to go put some groceries away, and I got some stuff to do. And be looking out on the channel. I'll post it, obviously, in Shiz's channel, Shiz's Discord. but the next video that's coming up is going to be the insider threat talk. So if you're interested in insider threat and how you can protect your company from threats from within, it's basically a counter intel talk. Because, like I said, I'm trying to put out comments or put out content that is not just shitting on Kaiser, even though Kaiser's a dirty, nasty piece of stolen valor shit and a murderer and a thief and a burglar and a fucking pillbilly, right? Like, it is nice to put out some it's nice to put out some comment that I'm actually passionate about. So and that's intelligence, and that's warfare, and that's that type of stuff, and geopolitics. I'm big into geopolitics too. So but at that, everybody, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. Here we go.
To have your heart to be a man, to do these things where you please. Bear with me and understand. To feel your touch, dream your dream. To have